Today we're going to be talking about lesson 2.2 part A. So we're going to be splitting lesson 2.2 up into three separate parts. So today will be the first of the three. This part is about adding and subtracting positive fractions and mixed numbers. So starting at the top of your guided notes, we're talking about the key idea. It says add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators by writing equivalent fractions with a common denominator. The least common denominator, or LCD, of two or more fractions is the least common multiple, or LCM, of the denominators. So we're going to take a look at the first four problems here, numbers 9 through 12, and figure out what the least common denominator would be so we can add and subtract these. Looking here at numbers 9 through 12, we need to start by finding the least common denominator, or least common multiple, of the denominators. So we need to find the least common multiple of 3 and 4. So we can start by listing the multiples of each of those numbers. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So we're counting by threes. Then we can start and count by fours. So 4, 8, 12, 16, and we could keep going. We're looking for the first number they have in common, which would be 12. So the new denominator of each of these fractions is going to be 12. So here we can see that 3 times 4 makes 12. So 2 times 4 makes 8. And 4 times 3 makes 12. And 3 times 3 makes 9. So now we can add these two fractions, 8 twelfths plus 9 twelfths. You add the numerators and keep the denominator. So 8 and 9 is 17. So we have 17 over 12. And of course we would need to reduce or simplify. So you can put the top number inside the house. 12 goes into 17 one time. And there are 5 left over. So we would have 1 and 5 twelfths. Now, if you look at number 10 here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to count to find the multiples. So 7, 14, 21. Multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We can see that their least common denominator would be 14. So again, 7 times 2 makes 14. So 6 times 2 is 12. 2 times 7 is 14, and 1 times 7 is 7. So again, add the numerators. 12 and 7 make 19. 19 fourteenths. Again, you could put 19 inside the house. When we do that, 14 goes into 19 one time. And again, we have 5 left over. So 1 and 5 fourteenths. Now you'll see here 11 and 12 are the same type of problem, except for instead of adding, we're going to be subtracting. So here we need the multiples of 10 and 12. So we should know the multiples of 10. So let's start by counting by 12s. So 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72. And again, we can count by 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So we can see that their least common multiple will be 60. Ten times 6 is 60, and 7 times 6 is 42. 12 times 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 60. So 5 times 5 is 25. Now, when we subtract 42, take away 25 is 17 over the denominator of 60. Now, 17 is a prime number, so this cannot be reduced. All right, number 12 here, again, finding the multiples. So 18 is a little tricky. So 18, 36, 54, 72, and 90. And then we can count by eights, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, and then we can see 72 is a number they both have in common. So both of these are going to have a denominator of 72. 8 times 9 makes 72, and 5 times 9 is 45. 18 times 1, 2, 3, 4 makes 72. And 13 times 4 is 52. So 52 minus 45 is 7 over the denominator of 72. Again, 7 is a prime number, so we wouldn't be able to subtract that or to reduce that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at 13 through 16. So 13 through 16 is going to use the same adding and subtracting rules, but instead they're going to give us mixed numbers. My recommendation would be to start and change them all into improper fractions before finding common denominators. So go ahead and try to change those into improper fractions, and then we'll take a look at those together. All right, as we look at numbers 13 and 14, we are going to change these from mixed numbers into improper fractions. So we start with the big whole number out front and multiply it times the denominator and add it to the numerator. So 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. So 13 sixths, plus 3 times 9 is 27, plus 4 is 31 over 9. Now we need to go through that step and find common denominators. So common denominator here, if we would find those multiples, would be 18. Now, if you're still struggling, you're going to probably want to find them before kind of moving on. But to keep the video kind of concise and shorter, I'm going to give those to you for the next few. So 6 times 3 is 18, and 13 times 3 is 39. 9 times 2 is 18, and 31 times 2 is 62. So when we add these together, we would get 101. So we have 101 over 18. Now again, we'd put this numerator inside the division house. And when we would divide this, 18 goes into 100 5 times. 18 times 5 is 90. When we subtract, we get 11 left over. So we would have 5 and 11/18 here. Now on this next one, again, 4 times 16 is 64. Plus 3 is 67 out of 16. 1 times 10 is 10, plus 1 is 11 out of 10. Now, looking for common denominators here, the first one's going to be 80. 10 times 8 is 80. 11 times 8 is 88. And 16 times 5 is 80. And 67 times 5, which you might need to work that out over here on the side. 7 times 5 is 35. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3 is 33. So 335. Now we would add these numerators, and when we do that, we end up with 423 over 80. Again, top number always goes inside the house. 80 can go into here 5 times. 80 times 5 is 400. 23 left over. Now we can see here again, 23 is a prime number, so we will not be able to reduce these. Now looking at 15 and 16, we're incorporating this with our subtraction. So 1 times 6 is 6 plus 5 is 11. So 11/6 minus 3/4. Again, least common multiple here would be 12. 6 times 2 is 12, so 11 times 2 is 22. 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 3 is 9. 22, take away 9, is 13 out of 12. Putting 13 in the house, 12 can go in one time, and we will have 1 left over. 1 and 1/12 would be our final answer here. And for this last one here, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11/3. 2 times 11 is 22, plus 4 is 26 over 11. Now with these, here the common denominator is going to be 33. So 3 times 11 makes 33. 11 times 11 is 121. 11 times 3 is 33. 26 times 3 is 78. Now when we subtract 121, take away 78. 11 take away 8 is 3. And 11 take away 7 is 4. So we have 43 over 33. If we would put this in the house, we would get 1 and 10/33. Tomorrow, when we start part 2, we'll look at more with mixed numbers.